Hi everybody, another crafting workshop, and we're going to have a go at some paper weaving this morning. Okay, and here's a couple of examples. I've done an S there, if you can see it, and then here we've got a little sort of video game chap that you could do if you wanted to. Don't worry if you haven't got all these different coloured papers. You could use magazines, anything you can get your hands on really, as long as you're allowed to cut it up. So you're going to need paper, some scissors, some sellotape, a pencil that I'm throwing around, and a ruler. Okay, so let's get going. So you're going to take a piece of white paper or whatever colour you want really for the background. So that's going to be this area here, like that area. Okay, so I'm just going to show you with a piece of paper here. So I'm just going to have an A4 piece of paper that I'm going to cut down to A5. So let's see if we can see this on the table. Brilliant. So I'm going to cut my A4 into an A5 just to make it a little bit smaller, because we're just going to do a really basic one to start with so that you get the understanding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the ruler and I'm going to make 1 centimetre marks across the paper. I'm going to try and move this a little bit more so it's over the work so you can see it. Okay, I need something with a bit of a sharp point. Okay, so I'm just going to mark. Now if you're really good at just cutting out straight lines, go for it, but I'm not too bad and they still end up a little bit wonky if I don't draw some lines. So I've just done across the top some little dots every centimetre, and then about halfway down, or you could go from the bottom. I'm going to do the same thing, then I'm going to join them up. Okay. Okay, now paper weaving is probably something that you think, oh, I did that at junior school. And again, it's one of those crafts where you think that's pretty easy, and then you start it like I did earlier and found that actually some of it isn't that easy, and it takes a little bit of concentration, a little bit of patience, but it's quite a fun thing that you can keep experimenting with when you just need to be in the moment maybe and keep your mind occupied, or you don't want to be occupied with anything heavy. It's just like something to have a go at and be creative with. So I'm going to draw a line across the top because that's where I'm going to cut up to. So you can fold this in half, but actually I don't like having a fold line in the middle. So I hope you can see that. I'm literally just cutting up to that top line. That's it. So I'm cutting up to that centimetre line at the top. I'm going to do that all the way along. So we should end up with this. So it's joined at the top and it's loose at the bottom. Now where my pencil marks are, I'm going to turn my piece over so the pencil marks are underneath. Okay, I'm going to lay it onto the table or whatever surface you're working on, and I'm just going to put a bit of tape on the top so it's stuck to the table. And then I've already cut out lots of bits of paper. Like I say, you don't have to have that colour, but it does need to be a contrast to this. So even if it was newspaper or magazines, we just need that contrast, okay? And again, I can see some pencil lines on here. They're probably just under 1 centimetre wide. So I need to make sure the pencil sides are underneath. So this is just a really straightforward one I'm going to show you first. So we're going to go under, over, under, over. And this is the one you probably remember from school, if you did it at primary. Going to go under, over, under, over, under, to pull that over, under, over, under. So I can see that now. And then we're going to just slide that up to the top. This is where you need the patience to just be gentle there with it. Okay. And then we're going to get another colour and we're going to do the opposite. So instead of starting under, we're going to start over. Okay, so we're going to go opposite, look. So every over before is now an under. You just have to take your time. Put some music on, maybe. There we have it. We will just continue that all the way down. So, as you can see, forms this really lovely pattern. So what I'm going to do then is, you could go right down to the bottom if you wanted, but I'm just going to stick all these pieces together. Because I've just remembered why I should have left it the other way round on the pencil side. Because then we could have just stuck tape just there, if you get what I mean. But it's okay. For this one, it's not too bad. So, we need to secure all the pieces, don't we? So if we had have done it back to front and we'd have done it on this side, which I told us not to do, and actually it would have been better, all we need to do is then put, especially if you're not going to see this side, we're going to just stick a little bit of tape along the edge. Okay, take that off, and then we'd cut along however short we want the tassels to be. So this would make like a cool mat, I suppose, in your bedroom, or just to put a pot on or something. So it's quite cool, isn't it? And you could, if you had a laminator, I know if we were at work or at youth club, we could use a laminator, okay, to do that. Now you can really experiment with that, and I've seen a few things online that you know, some people have gone at diagonals, okay, so they're putting weaves in diagonally, and also instead of cutting straight lines down, you could do wavy lines, which gives another cool way to do it. Okay, but I can't, do you know what, you could make these into bunting as well. Maybe for VE Day coming up, you could do red, white and blue, or if it was just white, you could colour those squares in, couldn't you? So what I thought we'd do now is try and design our own. So as you saw before, I'd done an S, and I'd also done a little character as well, which are really cute, I think. So I'm going to show you how to design your own. So if you think about hammer beads or sort of pixelated characters that you can make up, that's how we do it, really. Okay, so here's an example of what I was doing earlier to design my S. All right, now I have actually got some graph paper, so it was a little bit easier for me. But if you haven't, don't worry. What you'll need to do though is at least do some little squares across your page. So I'm going to do it with a black pen so that you can see clearly. I'll put the camera back down again. Hopefully you can see this. I'm going to get my black pen and I'm just going to colour over these squares. And you'll probably need at least 10 squares down, I would think. Although if you notice from this S, it's sort of quite squished, isn't it? So I wonder from my design, I need to keep that in mind, that it comes out quite squished, and add more blocks, more squares in going down, if that makes any sort of sense. It's brilliant when people send in photos of the crafts that they've done, because I sometimes wonder how can anybody follow what I'm saying, but I'm guessing it's not just what I'm saying, is it? You're watching as well and putting your own spin on it, your own uniqueness to it as well. Okay, so you get the gist. I say that a lot, don't I? So if I'm going to do an S, for example, for Sue, I would firstly, I'd probably draw it roughly on here. Where do I want it? Okay, so that's really rough. I don't know whether you can even see that on there. Maybe not. So then, because you'd want to do this with a pencil, I'm going to sort of go over that line where I think the cross is, where I think the bits of weaving will be above the lines. So I think I'm going to have one here. So I'm going to, you could colour them in, but I'm going to make a cross. Okay. So I'm first going to do it as a sort of stick letter, really. Follow it down. You can play about with this as well, obviously. And I can see that. So I'm beginning to build up the shape. Now we can't do half shapes, okay? So I'm going to make that a little bit thicker and wider. Like that. It's a bit of trial and error, to be honest. I suppose I need them to be the same. Maybe not that one. So I thought I'm going around the edge of it now. Might have one there actually. You can always add in more squares. So we definitely need one there, look. So it'll be like doing it on a computer in that sense. I think we need one there too. So you could design characters like this. I think we need one there. Like video game characters, I guess, would be quite nice actually. Need that to be doubled up. One there. Do I need one there? Don't know. So can you see that? So that's my S. It looks a bit like a 5 actually, doesn't it? So what I'm going to do now is a similar thing to how we started this one off, but I'm going to try it on some card, because what I did notice with the paper is that you can see the colours, and if I hold it like that, you can see the colours through. So I've got an A5 piece of card. I've done the same as I did before, centimetre across the top. I'm going to draw some lines down. And what I'm going to try and do is to do it backwards. I'll understand what I mean in a minute, hopefully. I'm going to cut this out, sorry, and then I'm going to come back. Okay, so I've cut out those strips, and I'm going to stick that to the table. And I've drawn my S. Now what I've just realised as well is that because we're going to try and do this backwards, I actually need the S to be backwards so that it will come out the right way round. So if you've got a shape like this, or for example a letter I, or a capital A, maybe it should be symmetrical. So if you've got a symmetrical shape, you don't need to worry about this. But because my S isn't, once I do this backwards, it will come out as a backwards S, if that makes sense. So what I've done, because this is thin paper, I've actually been able to trace through, okay, and so I've got it backwards. Clever. So, you can see this. So what I've done is I've got my backwards S, because we're going to do it backwards. I've put numbers at the top, 1 to 11 on here. You might have more or less, okay, but you must make sure that on your piece of paper down here you've got the same number of strips, okay, otherwise it's not going to work. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to start on this first line, so you could number them down here actually if you want to. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's how many pieces of paper I'm going to need to make this. So we're working back to front so that we can just stick it together as we go. Because I have actually practiced this, and that's why I know it doesn't work if you do back to front. Right, okay, hopefully you're going to see this okay with how I've got the camera. I hope so anyway. We're learning, aren't we? We're learning all the time. So what I need to remember is that anything with a cross means that my piece of paper, my strip of paper, will go underneath, and if it's a plain square it will be on the top because we're doing this backwards. Okay, so my number there is 8, so I need to find strip number 8, hold that up, and I'm going to go underneath all the way to number 4. Okay, so it's a little bit different to the straightforward paper weaving, if that makes sense. Can you see that okay? Yeah. So I've just got some little tiny bits of tape, and I'm just going to tape it as I go. Okay, now I'm just going to go pink and orange because obviously the yellow is not going to stand out on here. Now, so I've done my first line, so I might make a tick to help myself with that. You can see that as well. Okay, so we're going to go on to line 2. So I'm going to use my pink, so I'm going to go for 9. That's our dinner. Don't realise what time it is, you know, and I get a bit carried away, and it's tea time and I have to sort the tea out, but my husband's doing it, so that's good. Okay, and I'm going to go back to orange, and this time it starts at number 10 and it goes all the way to number 1, so that's quite a big one. So if you can hear the pots in the background, that's my tea. Getting a bit peckish actually. Okay. Dave. That's my husband burping.
Hey?
I'm recording.
I didn't know.
Family life, eh? Family life. Okay, so then this one is a little bit tricky. We're going to go under 3, at 11, sorry. Out at 9. All the way across to number 3. And then up at 1. So it's not quite the same as just the straightforward paper weaving. So I'm just putting a little bit of tape there. Okay, we're on, oh, I've not been ticking off my lines. So I'm on line 4. Okay. So finally got there, and what we're going to do is you can use glue for the ends, but I'm just going to tape with clear tape because we're not going to see this part. Just happy with where all the pieces are. I'm going to tape that, make it a little bit more stable. As we turn it round, yes, it has worked. Can you see that? So because we did it back to front, the S has actually worked. I think that's quite cool. I'm quite pleased with that. And so what I could do now is I could cut down those sides there, cut across the middle, okay, or I could bend those backwards. It's up to you really. Maybe put it in a frame or put it on the front of a card. So, you know, enjoy playing around, creating little characters or, like I say, names even. But yeah, take your time with it because it is a little bit complicated. But hopefully enjoy having a go. Take care. Bye.